be here. And
Oh, all right.
on my way, I experienced amazing synchronicities.
Yes.
That have just blown me wide open. It is so beautiful.
It is. Your lives can really function very magically if you allow yourself to go with the flow of your true energy.
Yes. Yes. Okay, so recently I was excited to a book called Meet the Hybrids by Barbara Lamb and Miguel Mendoca, I believe. And
yes, all right.
Reading this book, I experienced some amazing emotional things that I didn't quite understand.
Such as?
I kind of had to put the book down sometimes, and I would just start crying and weeping.
All right, well, very good.
In joy and in beauty.
Yes, we understand.
Okay. It brought back a memory right before I conceived my daughter.
Yes.
2.5 years ago. Well, plus the pregnancy. I had a dream.
We understand how it works.
Okay, yes. Is it the same for you and your civilization?
It was a long time ago.
Okay.
No longer is it that way. An energy bubble is created for a new life to form in outside of our bodies.
Wow. How do you nurture the children? Do they eat food? Do they breastfeed?
We no longer eat at all. We no longer sleep at all.
Wow. So who takes care of the children?
All of the planet.
All of the planet. It's not women when they're infants?
No.
No? Wow. Okay. Wow. All right. So my dream.
You keep saying that.
I am wowed.
Oh, all right. That's just where we're at in our evolution at this point.
Yes.
Was that another version of wow?
Yes.
Oh, all right.
So my dream, I
Yes.
met a boy, and it was like a welcoming, a coming home, and
Yes.
he hugged me, and I've never seen him in this reality, but...
No, he's a hybrid child on the ship. That didn't take you by surprise, did it?
No, I was just wondering if he was my brother or something, but... Okay,
Brother?
Thank you.
Child.
Thank you. Thank you.
Partially, anyway.
Yes, absolutely.
Genetically speaking.
Yes.
And so, you understand that one day the hybrid children will be living among you, yes?
Yes.
All right.
I'm very excited for this.
So are they, but they are learning.
Yes.
Right now, the phase of hybridization is about helping them acclimate to the idea of living on Earth, because there are many things that you all take for granted that are very, very foreign and alien to them. The simplest things don't make sense to them in terms of what your culture does. Okay. Even something as simple as putting food on a plate doesn't make sense to them.
Wow.
Why do you have to put it on a plate? Why not just eat it? Why do you need a fork? Can't you just eat it with your hands? You understand? You are a very foreign society to them.
Yes.
So they are learning.
Okay. Are they playing with me in my house when I see my daughter's toys move and things?
Not always.
Okay.
Sometimes that's other things, but from time to time they may be involved.
Okay.
Some of them are a little bit more mischievous than others. And of course, they're learning that from all of you. So.
Can I ask, how many do I have?
That is an open-ended question because it depends upon the amount of genetic material that would make them, quote unquote, yours.
Yes. Okay.
If we just deal with the idea that at the very, very least, there is 15% of your genetic material involved, then you could say that as many as 85. But if you're really going to something that is more like 80% of the genetic material, then you're really looking at something more like the idea of 5 to 7.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
This is an average overall.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Does this help you?
Absolutely. I have one more question.
Yes.
I had another dream that came up while reading this book, and it actually happened right before I got the book.
Yes.
A female being came into my room while my daughter was sleeping, and what I perceived as large eyes going up like this.
Yes.
I perceived her as a mantis being.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And she was gorgeous, and her energy was pink and yellow and beautiful, and we were connected like, it was almost as if our hands were holding, and she had I perceived what I thought was a pregnant belly. I'm not sure if it was mine or hers.
It was a reflection for you.
Okay.
Wasn't actually hers, but it
Okay.
was a reflection for you, a projection, an idea of connection to the idea of the children and your part that you're playing in that.
Okay, so the hybrid children can have more than one DNA in them, or more
Absolutely,
than two
just
DNA.
as all of you do.
Okay.
You're all mixed up, you know.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
Remember that in the original generation of the idea of genetically transforming Homo habilis, Homo erectus into Homo sapien by the Anunnaki, they themselves had a mixture of many different kinds of genetic strains that they passed on to you, all of you. So you have many different kinds of connections in you. Many different kinds of extraterrestrial connections and genetic material that make you a human or Homo sapien. It's one of the reasons why when different people on your planet went into different environments, they changed into what you consider to be different races, even though they're not, just because some of the different genetic traits would come out because of the pressures of that particular environment. You understand?
Yes.
So some of those traits are representative of some of the different extraterrestrial genetic strains that exist within all of you. It's just that some will come out in certain environments and others will come out in other environments. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
And my last question is about implants. This came to me like 2 nights ago. I listened to a message that had to do with how our guides can help us right now.
Yes.
And how we can call an SOS to them if we feel like we need that in the early morning hours.
Yes.
And I didn't quite understand this, but that night I went and I had dreams where I felt kind of paralyzed.
Yes, that's one of the symptoms of being shifted to another dimension.
Okay.
Remember that many of the encounters that many of you have actually happen slightly out of phase with what you consider physical reality to be. It's another kind of physical reality, but it's not quite the same frequency, and therefore, when you begin to experience that shift, a lot of times you will try to move in the same old way in your old reality, but since you're no longer actually fully in it, you can't move because you don't know how to move in the new reality yet. It's a way of freezing you to make sure the dimensional shift happens precisely so you won't go spinning off into some other dimension somewhere else.
So that's why I can't speak while that's happening.
Yes.
Okay. So does that have anything to do with implants? And what
The
are
idea
implants?
of implants is a slightly different technology now than it was at the beginning, even though there may have actually been physiological implants in the beginning of the hybridization program. The idea now is that there are slight alterations in the genetic material in your body that function in the same way, but they are less detectable.
Okay, so it's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, it's just keeping track.
Okay.
And it's also observing and recording. And it's also a communication link.
So there's nothing to really call for help for?
No, not really.
No, okay.
But you always have help. You are
Yes.
always being given help. This is all of you. You are always being given everything you can possibly be given. You don't really need to ask for help. If you want to trigger that idea for yourself, all you're actually doing is coming more into a conscious realization that you already have help. You don't have to ask for it. You just need to pay attention to the help you're already being given more closely. Then you will realize that you're always being helped. You are never not being assisted. You're just not always aware that you are. So asking for help is actually a technique you can use to realize you are being given help. But because you don't feel the connection, typically because of your space-time perspective, you think you have to ask for it as if it's not being given already. It's constant. It never goes away. You just have to become more conscious of the fact that it's already there. You follow me?
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
So the next time you feel like any of you need to ask for assistance in any way, shape, or form, please take that moment to remember that's just your way of suddenly realizing it's already being given to you. And relax into that support because it is there. And if you relax into it, you will feel it and you'll experience it. Yes?
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Well, thank you for applauding yourselves.
Okay, hi.
And to you, good day.
So you said that you no longer speak your
Speak up, speak up, speak up.
So you said you no longer use your language on your civilization?
We can if we wish, but it is, on our world, not always necessary. We can use it to sing or do different things, but the idea is that we are telepathically and synchronistically connected. So if you were to come to our world and you would be in the midst of a group of people, it would actually be incredibly silent.
So how do you separate, like how do you communicate individually? Like does it all come at once, or how do I...
Again, the idea is that it's telepathy. It's like people being in love. If you're in love with someone, don't you know what they're thinking at the same time?
Sometimes, yeah.
Well, that's an example of what happens in our world all the time. Moment to moment to moment to moment to moment. We are always exactly where we need to be, when we need to be there, with whom we need to be, because we are all on the wavelength we need to be on, and those of similar wavelengths will know exactly what we're thinking and where we are, and will be there if there is need for them to be so. Make sense?
Yeah. And so is that kind of how the ship and
Yes.
you...
Synchronicity is one of the symptoms of the shift into fourth density. The idea is to elevate synchronicity to the level of an art. Make sense?
Yes.
That's what we have done.
So is it possible? Well, I guess it's possible, but...
Anything is possible. The question is never, is it possible?
Right.
The question is it relevant?
So
is it probable?
Is it relevant and probable for us to start practicing telepathy?
Absolutely. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't have asked the question.
Do you have any tips on how to practice
I already
that?
gave you the biggest clue I could, didn't I?
Yes.
Be in love
Okay.
with life. Yes?
Yes.
When you're in love with all that is, you will be telepathic where and when you need to.
Awesome.
Yes?
Yes, thank you.
Does that help you?
Yes.
And it isn't just awesome in the sense that there is some awe. It is full of awe, which makes it awful.
Awesome.
Just to play with your language a bit. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Anything else?
Nope.
Thank you.
Hey, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
It's good to see you again.
Well, you're not really seeing me, but I understand the sentiment. Thank you.
Okay. Well, the last time we talked about...
Speak up, speak up.
The last time we talked about was Angkor Wat, and you mentioned when, and you didn't mention when, but could you tell me when it was built? The Angkor Wat building was built.
Your words are not translating. Repeat your statement.
When was the Angkor Wat built?
Angkor Wat.
Angkor Wat Temple.
You will find that construction was begun somewhere around the idea of 10,500 BC.
What was its purpose?
The idea of many of those things is to act as capacitors and energy generators for the idea of allowing people to get into a certain state that allows them to explore and express more of themselves.
Was life force energy ever used?
Life force energy exists in all of you. So of course it was used. Is that the way you meant that?
Yeah.
How can you not use life force energy?
It's everywhere, yeah. Let me see.
Are you asking if life force energy was amplified by the structure?
Yes.
Yes.
How so? Is it
By the proportions.
the material, the minerals?
The material to some degree, but mostly the proportions. Because many of these ideas of temples and structures on your planet are built to what you call golden mean proportions. And that is the mathematical structure of how physical reality lays itself out. So when you build things with those kinds of proportions, you will then cause resonance to happen in certain ways that will build the energy up and amplify it to the purpose that the structure has been built for.
Was the whole temple made out of sea minerals? Sandstone?
Not completely, but mostly, yes.
Okay.
But again, it will depend upon what's available in the area. Adjustments may be made for the kind of material that needs to be used.
Was it ever used for metaphysical restoration?
What are you defining as metaphysical restoration?
Healing.
Yes.
Was it also used to activate the pineal gland?
Yes. In fact, activating the pineal gland or aligning the pineal gland activation is one of the strongest things that a lot of such temples were used for on your planet in your history. Because it was understood that pineal gland activation at certain frequencies allows you to actually commune with other dimensions very clearly.
So you're saying people that were depressed, having cancer, they would go to these temples and
Yes.
be cured from...
Yes, they would cure themselves
I see.
by allowing themselves to align with the vibration that was amplified in that temple. Now, sometimes the idea of the priests would allow themselves to also give off that frequency to create a resonance atmosphere, a resonance bubble, that if the person to be healed then allowed themselves to match that frequency, then they would heal themselves, yes. They would align themselves.
You mentioned before that the temple was made by the Khmer civilization, am I correct?
Yes, but I said that you don't really understand exactly what the Khmer civilization was.
Is Khmer pronounced today as Khmer in the Cambodian language?
You can ask a Cambodian.
Okay. You also mentioned that people were trained to raise their vibration and
As you are training yourselves right now.
to perceive architectures, proportions, and dynamics. How so?
In a variety of ways. Do you have an interest in the idea of proportions and the resonant dynamics that attend those ideas of proportion?
Like the type of vibrational atmosphere that they had. Can you describe how it was?
It cannot really be described, it must be experienced. So if you will build a chamber out of whatever materials you are attracted to in the appropriate proportions that are representative of those golden means, you will have the experience yourself of what those vibrational resonances are like.
Okay. Were they
If that is exciting to you.
were the Khmer civilization had any connections to Atlantis or Sirius?
Both, to some degree,
Okay.
but also to what you would call Lemuria in ancient times. Or really, in their own language, Mu.
Mu.
Yes, Mu. Lemuria is a term that comes later in your history. It's not what they called themselves. They called themselves Mu.
I see. Were the Khmer civilization survivors of Atlantis?
There was some influx, but not as much. The idea, really, of the Atlantean spread was mostly to what you know as the North and South and Central Americas, and also to the idea of the Northern Africa, Mediterranean, and European theater. Eventually, some of the influence made its way across the Asian continents, but more it is the idea of a Muan connection.
I see.
Does that help you?
Yes.
All right. Anything else?
Yes. I recently showed you the cube
Yes.
before. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Well, you said it had connections to Sirius.
Yes.
I do practice these seashells
Yes.
on other people, and recently I had a person seeing a blue star.
Yes. Well,
Wait.
that's the vibrational color of Sirius,
I see.
the blue-white star.
He was also seeing an image of a lizard. Could you tell me more on that?
The idea is not exactly what you would call a lizard. There is a physical species that inhabits that system along with the non-physical consciousness that also is connected to that system. The physical species that inhabits that system that has visited your Earth in the past is a type of amphibious being, a little bit more closely resembling the idea of a salamander more than a lizard, but not exactly that either. So they had a slight interpretive difference in their perception of the being, but they were somewhat close. But it's not the idea of the reptilians that people are talking about on your planet.
I see. He also saw a reptoid. Could you?
No, I will not comment on that.
Okay. Also, there was other people, including myself, seeing formulas from when using the cube.
All right. So how do you wish to use that information? How do you wish to apply it in your physical reality?
Could you tell me more on these formulas?
No. You have to be the one to discover these things. This is your process. I'm not going to open your presence for you.
Are those
You
formulas?
must follow your excitement and your imagination and see where it leads. You must make your discoveries. It's your process.
I see.
We have already given you some information regarding the idea of clues that lead to resonant chambers that are certain proportions based on the idea of certain golden proportions. That's our clue. That's what we're allowed to give you. You must move forward and take that to whatever degree your imagination desires to discover the rest of the information regarding these formulas.
I see.
All right?
All right.
Then thank you.
Thank you.
There will be a brief amount of time remaining for this transmission.
Hello, Bashar.
And a you good day.
Thank you for everything. You've been
Thank you as well.
Great inspiration over the years. Couple of questions.
Yes.
You touched on the art of synchronicity
Yes.
earlier, and I guess got my mind and brain going. Is that kind of trying to?
Nothing is about trying.
Okay. Then, if you are synchronized with
Yes.
everything.
Which you always are, when we talk about the art of synchronicity, we're not saying you're not already experiencing synchronicity. The idea is to allow yourself to experience synchronicity in a particular way that is resonant and representative of the vibration you prefer. Everything is synchronicity. Because
And-
everything is one thing. Therefore, synchronicity is physical reality's way of showing you that everything is connected as one thing. It's up to you to utilize the nature and the structure of that idea of synchronicity in the way that is representative of your joy and your excitement and your preferred vibration in life. That's what we mean by using synchronicity as an art.
And at a higher level of synchronicity, a higher level of this art, would you then be able to kind of know your future, your outcome?
No,
No.
because again, the idea is the whole formula, yes, the whole formula, act on your highest excitement to the best of your ability, taking it as far as you can till you can take it no further, with zero insistence on the outcome.
Right.
Zero.
Right.
Then you allow yourself to simply experience the outcome, knowing that whatever the outcome is what it needs to be at that moment.
Excellent.
Yes? Because again, remember, your physical mind does not have the ability to actually know how something is going to happen. It's not designed to know that. Only your higher mind is. So the idea of visualization is all well and good, and you can have a visualization of what you would represent an outcome to be that is representative of a high outcome, a high vibrational outcome. But the visualization is only a symbol to get you into the state of being that is representative of the appropriate outcome. Once you have the state of being, once you have that excited energy about the so-called outcome, you have to let the visualization go and let your higher mind actually bring you the manifestation that is truly representative of the state of being that the symbolic visualization generated within you. That's how visualization works. You don't insist on the picture in the physical mind, because that may actually be limiting a better outcome, a more imaginative, more expansive and creative outcome that the higher mind could bring you. Make sense?
Makes sense. Excellent. Thank you.
Does that help?
That helps. I have one other question,
Yes.
kind of not relevant to this last question.
That's
but,
all right. Speak up, speak up.
You may have already been asked, but
I will
just
let
in
you
case,
know.
I was wondering if you could describe the physicality of the beings, of your
Yes.
physical beings. on your
We are
planet.
what you would call hybrid beings. We are on average about 5 feet of your height. We are relatively slender. Our skin is very pale, whitish. The idea is that our eyes are slightly larger than yours. Our noses, mouths, and ears are slightly smaller. Our heads are slightly larger. In that sense, do you understand this description?
Yes. Do you have hair?
I do not. Males do not. Females do. It tends to be white. There are exceptions.
Excellent. Thank you.
Is that sufficient?
Very much so. Thank you.
Then we thank you. And we will, at this timing, extend our deep appreciation to you all once again for the co-creation of this interaction and the allowance of this transmission. Please remember that when you talk about the idea of a cosmic awakening, that you are simply awakening into more remembrance of more of who you truly are, because you are the cosmos. You are all that is. And you are simply allowing yourself to awaken into more of who you are, and allowing yourself to recognize yourselves as cosmic beings, because that is who you are. So we thank you, our unconditional love to you all. We bid you all an